For Creamer Media's Polity, I'm Thabi Madiba. Researcher and analyst Professor Raymond Suttner joins me to discuss whether Zuma is mounting a revolt against Ramaphosa-led ANC and the state. Welcome, Professor.
Thank you.
Former President Jacob Zuma finally had his day in court on Friday after 8 years, but the court case was postponed to June. Now Zuma is planning a fresh round of applications and appeal that could indefinitely delay the start of the trial, which the NPA is planning to begin in November. So could Zuma succeed in this?
Well, you know, he has got a bit of a financial problem in the sense that the award of costs of about 10 million rand for when he challenged the public protector's report about who could appoint a judicial commission into state capture. They awarded costs against him personally. Now he appealed against that, and he's got to pay. He lost, and he's got to pay 10 million personally. No, it's not only did he appeal, but Cyril Ramaphosa. Then it was in the name of the president. Cyril Ramaphosa decided not to appeal further, so 10 million is already against Zuma. Owes 10 million. Also, the question up to now, the state has paid for his fees in all these cases. He said, Ramaphosa said there was some agreement, and the DA is challenging that in court. And if he doesn't get that money, that's going to cause he'll have to pay back. If he doesn't win that case, he'll have to pay back probably 20 million or something like that for all these cases, or even more. And a lot of this has been fruitless litigation. So if he wants to embark on this fresh round of applications to have the prosecution reviewed and all these sorts of things, he needs millions. And I think the state will want to find a way of curbing this, not just because they would like Zuma to go to jail or something like that, but because the litigation has turned out to be fruitless. In the so-called spy tapes case, when Zuma wanted to withhold the spy tapes, they fought it at the provincial level, they fought it at a full bench level, then they went to the Supreme Court of Appeal. And at the Supreme Court of Appeal, Zuma's lawyers admitted that they had no case to withhold the tapes. So they had wasted the court's money, they'd wasted the public's money on this litigation. And the North Gauteng High Court found that in this case of who appoints the head of the commission into state capture, the court again found that he had done fruitlessly, but it was so reckless that he must pay personally. So I don't know. Zuma may wish to do this. I don't think he's able to draw on such a pool of people to fund him as before. A number of the people who have been closely associated with Zuma have now been put on the state witness case list to be witnesses for the state in his corruption case. Now, if you refuse to give evidence, I don't know if it's changed, but when I was involved in politics, if you refuse to give evidence, you can go to jail for 5 years. And these Vivian Reddys and these types are not going to want to go to jail. So that, and in this time, they may not want to get more closely associated with Zuma. So we'll have a lot of problem raising funds. According to City Press, they had a shoestring budget, which they say is 1 million, to bring people from all over KZN to the court the other day. So I don't know if he's going to be able to take it further.
And the ANC made a ruling that individuals were free to show their support in Zuma's court case, but were not allowed to wear ANC insignia. But however, the individuals showed up in their green and black and gold at the court case of Zuma. So why has the ANC NEC not taken any action about this?
Well, you know, I think that you have to judge in a situation whether it will be too heavy-handed to take action. How you take action, how do you find who the people were, do you have photographs, do you act like the police? And I think they decided that the best thing was just to ignore it. And that would be what I would think was a wise thing to do, because insofar as I argue in the article, there is an incipient rebellion. Now, rebellion is a very dramatic word. It's low level, but they don't want to inflame the passions against the present leadership. So that was why I think they did it.
And what can you say about the reports that are claiming that the KZN ANC are planning to form a party to undermine Ramaphosa?
Well, you know, the KZN ANC is not one, it's quite divided. And there's a lot of things that could happen on the part of people who support Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma if they felt that the hold on power of Ramaphosa and his allies was weakened. Then they may do a whole lot of things which could include forming a new party. But at the moment, you have Sihle Zikalala saying, you know, there's nothing of the sort. We're loyal to the president of the ANC and president of the country, Cyril Ramaphosa. Now, a lot of those things can be preludes to stabbing someone in the back. However, my feeling is if they do want to stab him in the back, they keep that as a secret because it's not viable at the moment. So I don't think it's on for now, although there are reports that a new party has been formed in KZN, and you've got these strange clergy who are involved as well, taxi bosses, business people who are real mafia-type business people who demand money from people who do businesses. You've got funeral parlor people. It's a very strange mix.
But if the party is formed, can it make an impact on the 2019 elections?
Well, you know, the fact that the ANC is divided, not just in KZN, but in Northwest, maybe to some extent in Free State, can lead to people not going to the polls or possibly voting DA. So they may not be able to get as many votes as possible, but I don't think that these new parties will necessarily attract the support. And BLF has got no real supporters except the Guptas.
And lastly, with this faction that is going on, do you think the ANC can win elections next year?
I think the ANC is in a stronger position than it was this time last year, because in general Cyril Ramaphosa, despite having an ambiguous support base in the sense that the loyalty of some people who are together with him in the top six, the loyalty of some people in the national executive and some provincial leaders are in doubt. Despite this, he's managed to move very quickly on some things, cleaning up. You had yesterday the dissolution of the Denel board by the Minister of Public Enterprises, Pravin Gordhan, and immediately the appointment of an interim board. So you've got very important developments that are happening, not as much as many people would want. But, you know, with a lot of these things, and you'll see this if you study the DA conference as well, a lot of things you have to content yourself with partial victories, and you have to then work and build up support for bigger victories on the side of Cyril Ramaphosa and his followers, but also on the side of those who are opposing him. So it's not conclusive, but I think the ANC at the moment seems well ahead of other parties, although in general the DA came across fairly impressively or professionally in the Congress over the weekend.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you.
That was Professor Raymond Suttner speaking to Creamer Media's Polity about whether Zuma is mounting a revolt against the Ramaphosa-led ANC and the state.